What's going on, guys? So we're back again with another gameplay video. This time we have Perth Pro Players team member Jake here on the left playing Cell Surge, and we have Ryan here on the right playing King Cold. So just before we get started into the gameplay video, I want to give a huge shout out to our sponsor, Team Card Titan. If you guys want any DBS Seal products or DBS singles, make sure you check out that link in the description below. And for all the people in Australia and New Zealand, check out their auction page on Facebook as well. Now, both of these mats as well made by a local man, Jesse. They're both beautiful. You probably have seen them show up on some of the buy and sell pages. If you want some, make sure you hit him up. These are absolutely amazing. The left one, which is the Goku Black Rose, that was a standard one that he sold. And the one on the right was actually a commission asked by Ryan. The mat is beautiful. They both look amazing in their own right. So if you want one, make sure you check it out and check him out as well. Now, both doing a little bit of hand destruction, I guess, in a way. King Cold, not so much. It can be very aggressive in what it does, but really just trying to play as many field cards as possible, drawing a lot of cards, get that early awaken. Now, this is one good thing, I guess, for Ryan, is that his field cards, he can play for free and really get those draws going as soon as possible, right? Which is pretty great. So there's always that potential that Ryan can keep his hand large enough, right? Especially with the field card that has Bardock on it as well. So he can just keep drawing as many cards as he really needs, especially with this leader effect as well. And especially when you flip that awaken turn where you get it on the front and the back side as well, is very, very powerful effect. So I'm hoping that he can maintain a little bit of a hand. But Cell Surges, you know, exactly what he wants to do is just ripping cards as often as possible. So sometimes it can be really hard just to find the cards that you need because they've just disappeared from your hand. So it depends what Ryan opens and what he can get going really early on. So I'm hoping he can get something going for him so he can, I guess, draw enough cards that he can awaken and get those draws as heavy as possible. So it looks like we're going to hit that unison straight away, which is nice. Going for the plus just here, being able to play out a field card. Now, the downside here is he's not going to get his awaken on this turn, right? Because Jake is not going to swing unless it's a critical swing. So we are going to go 1 and 1 just here for the leader effect. And then we're going to draw one as well from this effect. And then we're going to hit a berry blue and top deck. So again, just you can see how many cards this kind of can draw and inherently get, which is great. And that's kind of what Ryan needs to do. Just needs to keep this up as much as possible. He needs to be popping field cards with the back of the leader, using Berry Blue's effect, getting to play back out, drawing more cards, right? And this card really good as well, the one he's just added to hand and the one that's on board. The ideal card that you do want to pop so you can get those draws. Again, you do have to lose a card from hand, which sucks, but very, very valuable still to get those draws. So we are going to swing, it looks like, into leader just here, and with unison as well. Deciding whether we want to defend, which I think Jake is just going to let it go through. He did flip a Cells Kamehameha to the top there. I think everyone saw that, right? Pretty scary. Cells Kamehameha is a very, very strong card. Always seems to steal the one card that you want to keep in your hand, right? Always seems to be that way, unfortunately. So we are going to go for the effective leader, adding a Ribrianne to hand, just going to bin it straight away, which is completely understandable. Just get it there right away. Ryan's already drawn too many cards, if I say so myself. I think Jake will want to start just taking them away as soon as possible, right? Which is, I think, exactly what we will do here. We'll probably Ribrianne for our 2 energy. Take the 2 from the hand. Discarding 2. Discarding Zarbon and a Ribrianne. So 2 perfect cards that he already wants in the drop area, right? So this is what I was saying. So I know Ryan's playing a little bit more hand destruction in this, which is cool. So he is running the Ribriannes and things like that. And the Zarbon blocker as well is a really good card. I actually really like that card too. Perfect little combo there to discard a Ribrianne into the Zarbon to get that onto board and get going from there. So I really like that. So let's see what happens here on Ryan's side. Charging to 3 energy, having his awaken turn as well. I am hoping that he has another field card that he can play out besides those 2. Potentially the one with Bardock on it as well, which is very powerful if he has that. But it looks like what we're going to do is go for Ribrianne, discarding 2. Now, for Jake, sometimes this is not the end of the world, right? He can potentially put cards in that he wants in there himself. But it looks like we are discarding 2. So we're going to go a Freezer and a Crit Gohan, paying 1 energy to play out the Zarbon, discarding a new ruler. Okay. Unfortunately, it looks like we're not able to awaken at this point. Otherwise, I think we would have awakened just here. Swinging in a 15k into leader. So really trying to keep this pressure on Cell Surge, which I really respect. So I think what he needs to do is keep the pressure up and try to get some cards from Jake's hand at this point. But having a Paragus Super Combo early, really, really nice for him. The fact that he can draw 2. Warp 1. We are going to just +2. It looks like, unfortunately, not having Unison to field card to play, so not getting out draws. And this can be, I guess, a downside. If you're not getting attacked, he's now not getting his Awaken, which means that he needs to be able to find those different field cards as much as possible, right? And I'm not too sure of the ratios he runs. I'm probably assuming it's like a 4-4 of the 2 that are on board, and then maybe like a 2 of the 2-2 of the other ones, or a 3-2 of the other ones potentially, right? So he now needs to find them. But the scary thing here is Jake is going to try to take some of these cards from his hand. So we are going to top 5 just here. Go find ourselves, hopefully, what we need right now at this turn. Turn 3, usually when Jake wants to play a Broly Unison. So usually he wants to play a Broly Unison. He will then use the effect to discard a card, KO a card. Again, Ryan gets the choice of what card is KO'd. So he can potentially choose that Zarbon, right? Because I believe it is KO'd, not placed. To get the effect, we are going to discard a Ribrianne. Now, that means we can take at least 3 cards from the hand this turn with this Broly Unison just here, right? So what we can do is go for Broly Unison, discard a card. He then discards a card as well, right? And then we have the option here to KO something, hopefully get critical, and then we can go for the Awaken on the leader's effect, and then pay 2 for our Ribrianne, taking more cards from the hand as well, right? Which would be pretty interesting. So let's see what he decides to do. Ryan doesn't have, it looks like, too many in hand now. I think he's down to about like 5 or 6. So Jake really wanted to be aggressive now with what he can take from the hand. So placing 2 underneath, drawing 2 cards, restanding 2 energy. So let's see what he rips off the draw. Unfortunately, just off screen, so I'm not too sure what he actually got. But more than likely, looks like swing into leader here, or maybe Unison. So what Jake's probably trying to do, right, is force that block out of the Zarbon. Okay, so if he forces the block from the Zarbon, he then gets to ensure that he kills the Berry Blue, right? And then the Berry Blue doesn't get to play field cards, and then he doesn't get to draw too many cards again, which I also really like here. I think that's a good choice, right? So he is going to go for the block, so he's really trying to force that out of him. He does have to discard 1, which more than likely discards something he wants to place in there anyway. Dragon Ball, not bad either. That's not bad at all. I think he doesn't really care too much about that card. Ripping 2 with Ribrianne. So Ryan's hand now getting real low. I think he's only got 2 cards left in hand. And then more than likely we take 1 with the Broly's effect as well. Okay, so the effect of Dabura. So we're going to take the 2 cards from hand here. So we're going to go get ourselves a Dragon Ball. Taking 1 from hand because we've now lost a marker on that. So Ryan having the hard decision. Going to go grab Dragon Ball. Now, it wouldn't surprise me here if... so we've got 3, sorry. We've only got 2 cards left in hand. It wouldn't surprise me here if he discards the Dragon Ball for the effect of the Broly. I'm not too sure what else he's got in hand. But as I said, doesn't really need it too much. We also have Overwhelm here for the Toa, which could be a good choice once again. So we go the Overwhelm for Toa. Take 1 card from hand. So we're really just trying to minimize what he actually has in hand, right? And being very aggressive with this. So I respect that. So taking 1 from hand, plussing 5k to leader, losing that card. And then more than likely now we go for the effect of the Broly where we do the plus, discard a card, more than likely discarding that ball, as I said, unless we've got something we really want in there. So it looks like we're going to discard, and then we get to KO, which we have to KO the Berry Blue. Play out our Freezer onto the board. if we have one in hand, which we do. We've got one in hand, so get that out onto the board. So now we've got our crit pressure as well, right, which I really like too. So we can deny more and more resources. So the option is here whether he starts swinging into the unison to keep it on low markers, which I can kind of respect that too. I think that is very valuable for him. So swing into the unison, it looks like, rather than into the leader, and just keep that on low markers. And I'm assuming all of these are going to do exactly that. Just swing into unison and then swing into potentially unison again, just to try to get it on as lower markers as possible. It looks like we're going to go for the crit. Ryan being still at, I believe, 5 life just here. So I respect that crit, not letting him awaken this next turn too easily, forcing him to really get the top deck to get anything going. So passing turn here. Jake doing an excellent job of just taking cards away from the hand, right? Which is exactly what Cell needs to do. Hitting that berry blue, real nice here. Being able to top deck, hopefully finding one that draws cards, right? So we want to find the one that has Bardock on it if we can. So then we can awaken and then we can draw more cards as well. Looks like, unfortunately, we're not getting that. We're either getting a unison or we're getting that little freezer on board just there. So we're going to get the unison. I don't believe anything that got dropped was a card we could play out either, because we've got the 2 just sitting there at the moment. Let's see what Ryan's able to do, though. Maybe I was wrong. So we can potentially play out a Zarbon. Not really going to be too valuable. Rosie would have been nice to have in hand as well. Play that out, has deflect. Obviously get some more effects of ripping a bit more of the hand. So really just going back and forth with that. I think Cell Surge just does it too well because it's so passive, as I've said. We are going to plus, play nothing, and then pass turn. Sorry, no, looks like we're going to minus and KO the freezer just there, so there's not so much crit going through, which I respect that. I think that's a good choice for sure. Going to play out the Zarbon, discarding the card in hand, having a little bit of extra protection. Now, the thing is here with what he's got on the board for Jake himself, he can very easily just clear that board again, right? And then swing a double strike into the unison if he needs to. Unless he gets Rubrianne, then he swings a double strike into leader. Okay, so very easily can clear that board. Has to lose a card from hand unless his hand is already low as well, which is always a potential too, right? So he can clear his hand enough that when that block actually happens, he doesn't have enough cards in hand, and then he can fill it back up with the parasitic that he's got under his leader just there. So let's see what he decides to go for. So potentially goes for the leader effect. No, because we've got no cards in hand. I think what we probably want to try to do here is give 1 card, right? We need to give 1 card somehow. So potentially swing in with that leader, as long as we've got under 5 cards. So swing in with that leader. Let that die. Yeah, that's fair. So it was going into unison. Obviously, Jake having a look what we've got in hand just here. Trying to figure out. So it looks like we're going to go for the discard. We're going to hit the KO. He then gets to decide. Only got 4 cards, I believe, in hand. At this point, I'd probably hit the berry blue rather than the Zarbon. Now, what we do is we take a card from underneath the leader, I would say. And then we rip that and we can draw our 2, which is quite nice. So we can take that 1 card from hand, grabbing ourselves a Dragon Ball. So just thinning the deck that little bit more. So, that one has to be from drop area, of course, because he doesn't have another one in deck, I'm assuming. So being able to go down to 3 life, kind of scary. If I was Jake, I'd probably go for the parasitic underneath the leader. We're going to hit the Toa first, denying that. So 1 card again from hand. Giving plus to leader, not needed because it's already tapped down. Swinging 1 potentially in if we can rip that card once again, which I'm not too sure if we can or not. And I think, yep, so swinging 1 in. So we must have another way to get that card from hand, which I believe would be the leader effect. So what we do is we go leader effect, 1 from board, 1 from hand just there, right? So we have access to that quite easily. We have seen a Rubrianne. So now Jake's hand's a little bit low, but he's going to draw 1 card just here. Build himself back up, force Ryan then to top deck, right? So we're forcing Ryan to top deck. Scary thing is he now has his own Ribrianne in the drop area. Has access to 2 energy because he's got his Awaken as well very easily. He can then swing in for a 25 by KOing one of these field cards. And then if he has a field card in hand, it would be ideal. So then he can, I guess, start drawing up again a little bit more. And then Jake has the effort of going through that all again. So let's see what he decides to do. So paying 2, discarding 2. Probably keeping that Paragus, I'm assuming, in hand. I think he's thinking about discarding get Heroine's Lineage. That's what I thought. Discard a Heroine's Lineage. Get that out of hand. Don't need it. Untapping our 2. He can then swing in, as I said, at 25. Unfortunately, that Broly Unison is already, I guess, out of control. There's not really too much you can do. Drawing a card and then discarding a card. Discarding that Zarbon. Having 1 card in hand. Once again, hoping it's a field card so we can get our draws going. Jake going to take. I'm not too scared, I don't think, about dying in this turn. There's nothing too crazy that's going to happen. Discarding Ribrianne and then ripping 2 cards from hand once again. So, Jake's hand now getting a little bit lower. We are, it looks like, going to play the Freezer and then losing 2 from hand. I'm not too sure what life total that Ryan is at right now with no cards in hand. Scary thing here as well for Jake is he can take it to 25, 35, and I believe, I'm assuming he's only at 2 life, so that's ending the game. Yeah, so there we go, guys. So he was at 25 just there. 35k to his 25k because he's only got that leader effect. So he does have access to that, of course, the KO, and then he can get some draws and things like that going as well. Doesn't need it though. So there we go, guys. Cell Surge doing exactly what it wanted to do again, just destroying hand as much as possible. It's a very, very aggressive hand destruction deck, and it's really cool to see it being played. It is very, very powerful, and I understand why it stays at the top of the tier list as well, because it is so powerful at what it does. King Cold's still an excellent deck. Got to see a little bit of different variant with some hand destruction, which is really cool. A little bit different than what other people play, which I always like to show on the channel too. And I really like the King Cold deck. The field cards are really powerful, have lots of cool effects. KOing at plussing as well, always awesome. Hope you guys did enjoy the gameplay video. If you did, please remember to subscribe, hit that bell to stay notified, and I'll catch you guys on the next one.